Zion Williamson, preseason film review, game against Chicago from last night. Took a deep dive into it. Let's take a look at some of the intricacies maybe you didn't see besides just the Bleacher Report highlights. First things first, offensively. A couple things I was really impressed with. Zion had a few really nice field plays. Plays you can't really script, don't work out exactly how you planned them, but he ends up just making a simple, really smart play here. Sees Lonzo after kicking, driving, drawing some penetration. Lonzo ends up under the basket. Defense kind of forgets about him. Lonzo ends up in the dunker spot. Zion catching the ball out here. They're playing way off him because they live with him shooting threes. What they can't live with, though, is him making this beautiful lob pass to Lonzo right over the top to lead him for a layup. Really nice high IQ play there. Another really nice one here. Was really impressed with some of his vision passing the ball. These are the Draymond type, LeBron type, quick read passes, especially we know he loves that spin move to get back to his left hand, but a lot of times in college I sort of see him get stuck in the air or more likely finish over these smaller guys in college. In the NBA, there's somebody there, so what you have to be able to do is make this kick pass to the corner, which Zion does a great job of here, spinning in the air, keeping the ball up, finding Frank Jackson for a corner three. Really nice pass. The other thing that's really improved to me is his handles. I was big on, in college, very left-hand dominant, didn't have much of a right hand. You can tell he's really worked on his handle, especially in tight, compact places like right here. The quick inside-out dribble with the right hand ends up freezing Cornet and gives him enough space even to put it back in his comfortable left hand to finish, but it's easy to do when you're able to get by your man with a filthy off-the-dribble move like that. That's the sign of the offseason work. Another high IQ, good basketball pass here. Sets a drag screen in transition with the corner empty, forcing Cornet to come over and help. And when he sees Markkanen is a little late to cover down on Favors, Zion does a great job taking a dribble towards the middle, finding that pocket in the middle to lead Favors with a great bounce pass for a layup. Here's something he didn't do as well. I talked about in college, obviously, he was able to overpower a lot of guys in the post. In the NBA, you're not going to be able to do that as much. So even with Zach LaVine matched up on him, a clear size mismatch, Zion doesn't do a great job here of really sealing Zach deep and begging for the ball with his right hand. You see he wants to catch it left-handed again, which is going to make it harder for him to catch it at that angle. On this side, really, you need to be able to hold him off with your left and catch the ball with your right. And then ball goes away, ball comes back. Now you should keep Zach on your back and beg for that ball again with that right hand. But since Zion's not really as comfortable catching with his right hand, you see he doesn't really have that technique down right now to seal Zach off and beg for that pass over the top that Lonzo can definitely make to lob the pass in the pocket right here, and instead gets kind of pushed out. Pelicans end up having to run a pick and roll where, again, this is where Zion is a little bit of a liability at this point in that he's spaced defensively, but Zach LaVine, even with the ball coming towards him in the strong corner, is going to help off the corner to go get the roll because he's not really worried about Zion shooting. Favors is still able to finish, but that's not really any credit to Zion there and that his man was able to come off completely to go help. Another thing Zion we know does really well, that he did do really well in college and will translate to the NBA a little bit. He's able to get an angle on bigs, especially for these quick catch and goes. As you see, Thad Young helped towards the nail here to stop the ball. Zion does a great job of catching it already on the move. And as he sees Thad is a little late in stopping the ball, getting back and stunting to him, Zion's able to put the ball down and explode to his strong left hand for the finish. This play starts off defensively because I wanted to run it all the way through. It's a little lapse defensively. Again, Zion needs to do a better job staying down in the stance here, not standing up out of his stance as his man gets behind him. And then when his man beats him, you see Jackson make a great read here to stop the ball. Zion needs to make a better read and peel off to contest this shot. He doesn't. LaVine gets a wide open jumper right there. Little things coaches will show him in the film room that he's got to improve on. As we then transition to offense from this play, we did at least see, again, how much better that right hand's gotten. Seems he's really gotten comfortable, especially with that in and out move with the right hand. That's a filthy move. Again, you see him put it back in his left hand, but so athletic and so big, he's able to get all the way to the rim. Another thing really scary in transition, the ability, we know he has this, as Young is a little late finding him in transition, to put the ball down off one dribble all the way from the three-point line and read the defender trying to cut him off to the basket, rise up and just kind of hang in the air. Again, off one bounce from the three, not something that a whole lot of guys can do. Zion clearly can. Will lead to him getting a few easy baskets like that every game. Another thing we see offensively, again, you just think about the few of the deficiencies, a few of the things that obviously he needs to work on. He's a four-man in the NBA, so spread pick and roll, usually he's not going to be the one that's setting it. It's going to be Favors, it's going to be Hayes. Those are the big roll men. So on this one, for example, he's out spaced, but he's not really comfortable spacing behind the three-point line. Looks like he's kind of waiting in there, trying to set a flare screen or something, which allows his man Markkanen to go and help all the way to the roll and kind of take that away by mucking it up. As the ball ends up getting swung, Zion's going to come back up to set another pick and roll. Doesn't really roll that hard, though. Ingram ends up taking a really tough shot at the end of the shot clock. Here's another one. They end up getting a layup here, but just another good illustration of, again, Zion, the ball's coming towards a strong corner. His man completely off him, going to help on the roll. Zion ends up cutting from the corner, which is a good option, and actually does end up making Markkanen more concerned about him than he would be if Zion stayed at the three. So good read by Zion here to back cut from the corner, even with his man helping off him, because that moment of helping from Markkanen, that moment of worrying about Zion again forces Markkanen to not be on Favors and not stop the lob. Lonzo does a great job rising up in the air, faking with his eyes, and ending up making that late pass to Favors to lead him for an easy two. Here's another one offensively where, again, you see Zion at the four, not being able to space the floor as a four-man in today's game is a little bit of a challenge. You see, again, he's kind of in that dunker spot, short corner, not spaced to the three. That's kind of where Ben Simmons gets put a lot when he can't shoot the ball, or at least did last season. You see here, they end up hitting him in the dunker, but especially because Zion's not as comfortable finishing with that right hand and exploding and finishing with that right, defense is able to, especially with Kornet coming over to help, keep him on the floor, prevent him from getting a shot up, forces Ingram to score from that dreaded mid-range area, but that he is pretty good at. And then how did they use him offensively? One of the things you clearly can tell they've worked on a lot with him is catching on these Maggette-type cuts, or these kind of 5-on-4 quick pin-ins. You see the stagger for JJ, and then the 5 ends up pinning Zion to try to get him a little catch on the move going to the elbow. Again, not as comfortable going right. When we know when he goes that way, usually going to spin back to the left, but even there is too strong and powerful. And Markkanen kind of bites too much on the right fake, whereas he should be waiting on Zion to always come back to that right shoulder. Here's an example, again, of the Maggette cut. This one's really the Maggette, which is coming up, lifting up at the same time as the pick and roll, instead of staying like deep down in the corner, kind of catching it already on that move, slashing into this area right here. Zion especially doing that from the right side of the floor so he can put it down to his left hand right away is what makes him really, really dangerous, getting in that gap right there as he gets the goaltending call on that one. And we see another one. Again, it seems like whenever Zion's lifted on the right side of these pick and rolls, instead of him just staying spaced out, they love to have him cut right behind. As you see Okafor even set this little screen right here to bring Zion to the elbow. And that's when, again, he's able to get to his left hand so easily on the move. This is a deadly action that Alvin Gentry is going to use a lot this season. Used in the past a little bit with Randall. Going to use even more for a guy with Zion's amount of athleticism. Final example here. Again, that's kind of a perfect example of a Maggette right there. Reason being, this guy has to worry about the roll. You see him sliding in, and then when he goes to check on where Zion is, Zion's already on the move, so it makes it a tough guard. Vet does a good job catching up to him, though. Zion just misses the easy lefty for his only miss of the night. A couple other little concerns or little things I noticed. Again, like I said, not as comfortable still going to the right. Here he fakes the dribble handoff, gets by a little bit, but ends up putting the ball back in his left hand. Not super comfortable again going to that side to finish or pass. Same thing sort of happens here. Probably has the easy right-hand finish or dunk with Kornet behind. Since he's not as comfortable in the right hand, though, you see him again end up reversing it all the way back to the left hand. Ends up getting fouled on this play. But again, I preferred that strong right-hand finish right there. We know he has that strong left-hand preference. But was encouraging at least to see this. This one play's not easy. Nice touch by Holiday. But Zion has to really go up and get it. Not able to dunk it, but able to guide it in with his right hand. Makes it look really smooth, really easy. Impressive. And then this one again, going to the right, still putting it back in his left hand to finish. But these are the moves I didn't see a whole lot of in college. The behind the back to get to his right there. Really nice off the dribble move. Clearly he's been working on that handle. Defensively, it was kind of a mixed bag. Started off pretty good. You see him here playing between two on the pick and roll, doing a great job like he needs to. Closing back out to Porter. Really good possession here. Ball's dead. Does a great job denying it all the way deep, which leads to a Holiday transition basket. About as good of a start as you could hope for defensively, but unfortunately got a little bit worse from there. Here you see him cross-matched on a Satoransky and end up kind of just falling asleep as Satoransky cuts right by him and knows Zion's going to jump for the block. Little shot fake up and under finish. This play, they went at Zion after a timeout. He's got to be a little more alert going after him with Thad Young. They clearly were taking advantage of knowing that Zion's going to try to overplay a lot of the times and was really aggressive on a lot of plays. Young does a great job planting, hard backdoor cut. NBA coaches, Boylan does a good job recognizing these things and after timeout plays. Here they set a step-up pick and roll. Kornet's going to dive. Zion did this a little bit too much too. Again, the gambling, the kind of plays in college that maybe you can get away with in the NBA. This is his man in the corner and marking him. If you're able to get that steal, great, but you can't take yourself out of the play by gambling like that because now your man's got a dunk. Watch Zion again here as Markkanen pops. You can be there for a second to stunt at him, but Young again is going to slash and dive to the basket. Zion again is going to go for a steal. Thad's going to go deep. Help has to come in, which leads to a kick-out three. Started with Zion's gamble. Yet another cut here by his man once again. Yes, you got to be worried about Markkanen popping, and he went for the ball right here, and Zion's a little bit concerned about these guys still spaced out, but ultimately that is your man right here, Thad Young, that you've got to keep from cutting behind you for a layup. Need a little more alertness out of him at the defensive end. A couple times this happened in the night. A couple of these random screens, okay, maybe the game plan was to go under, but you have to recognize if Lonzo's going to try to do it here, he's probably not going to be able to get back to the ball. Probably needed to just switch this one if you can't get out in a show or anything. Instead, Zion doesn't really do anything, which leads to a layup. Same deal happens here. Nothing on the pick and roll, no coverage. Zion's got to give him a little bit of help, switch, maybe talk a little bit sooner, identify. Thanks for watching the Zion preseason film review. Good to be back on YouTube. Make sure you're following again at ScoutWithBryan on Twitter, Instagram, all the platforms. Thumb up, subscribe. A lot more coming soon. Appreciate you guys watching. Excited for a great season.